Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about how changing your thoughts can really help change your injury recovery journey. So pain really has a way of messing with your body, but it can also really mess with your mind.
I'm freaking out, man.
So whether it's a new injury or you're dealing with chronic pain or a long-term recovery, what's happening in your head can really make or break your recovery, make it easier or make it harder. So in this video today, we'll break down what is cognitive behavioral therapy and how it can really help retrain your brain to better cope with pain, injury recovery in general, and really the emotional recovery that is inevitable. So to start, we'll just talk about what is CBT. And so it's really a proven psychological approach that helps you understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors and how they're all interconnected. So in general, your thoughts can really affect how you feel.
I don't like where this is going.
And in response, your feelings can really affect what you do. So changing your thoughts can really help you change how you act and how you feel throughout your recovery. And so CBT isn't really just trying to think positive. It's about really trying to catch those unhelpful thought patterns and learn new ways to reframe and challenge those thoughts so that your mind becomes more of the part of the solution than a part of the obstacle.
Okay, yeah, no, fine. One boba, please. We'll call it a mental health day treat.
So there are a number of ways and principles to look at CBT, but in this video, we tried to pull the ones that are most helpful as it relates to injury recovery, challenging those negative thoughts and really getting back on your feet and getting back to doing what you love, and using CBT as kind of a guiding principle for that. And so we'll quickly touch on some of the core principles of CBT. So the first principle of CBT that I find most important is really the ability to identify and challenge negative thought patterns or unhelpful thoughts. In general, our brains really love worst case scenarios.
Could be serious, could be sarin gas.
Dog got a JFK, caught a whiff of something in this package postmarked to a Bosnian refugee camp. Could be detergent, it could be sarin gas.
A lot of times we'll be in fight or flight mode as it is in injury recovery, really trying to protect us, so our brains go in that hyperdrive and they have unhelpful thought patterns that fuel fear, negativity, frustration, even hopelessness. So our goal is to really replace those thoughts with more grounded, logical thoughts by reframing and catching those thoughts in action.
Bad time, hookers, booze, shooting holes in the ceiling, screaming myself to sleep. Finally, my parents said I had to move out.
So I'm guessing that's when you decided to shack up with your aunt?
Don't get cute, wise ass.
So as a quick example of something along those lines, in a scenario where you wake up and everything hurts, or your injury or surgical site hurts, and you think this is never gonna get better. CBT really teaches you to pause and ask, is that totally true? Is that 100% true? Or is that just me being frustrated, kind of fed up with the process? So you're challenging the thought and reframing it. So instead of that, you say, today's a tough day. I've had tough days before, we'll get through it one step at a time. So trying to look at it with more the logical side of the brain rather than the emotional side, and hitting the pause button and reframing that thought that pops into your head is a key benefit. And really a key takeaway in that first principle of CBT is really that you don't have to believe every thought that pops into your brain. Just because it pops in your brain doesn't mean it's true. You can challenge it, reframe it, and look at a more positive aspect of it.
Is it true?
The second major principle is behavioral activation. So when you're in pain, you naturally stop doing things that bother it, and even can go beyond that. Even when it's feeling better, you're still afraid to do certain movements because you have that learned behavior.
We gotta tell him. No, I don't care what the doctor said. We gotta tell him now.
Ricky, the doctor told us that we should let you work it out in your own sweet time, but Ricky, you can walk.
What'd you just say?
He's telling you the truth, man. It's all in your head.
So staying inactive, though, can be detrimental at times, especially through injury recovery. So the goal with this second principle is really to get moving even when you don't feel like it. So to try and break that cycle of inactivity and low mood. So as a quick example of that for behavioral activation is, let's say you're recovering from surgery, you're kind of couch-ridden or bedridden, told to really rest and relax those first few weeks, but you're feeling really tired, unmotivated, even a little down or depressed. So behavioral activation is about flipping that script and really just trying to force yourself to do some activity. And it's really not even for the physical side, it's really just get that mental boost to force yourself to do something. This could look like something as small as a 5 or 10 minute walk, getting outside, or just to give your brain a little bit of that boost as we talked about. So when motivation isn't there, you always fall back on discipline. So try to have that discipline to get moving even when you don't feel like it.
She says I take no joy in life. I can see that.
And so the third major principle of CBT is pain reframing. So not all pain equals damage, and that's a key component of CBT, is trying to recognize that. But it also helps you shift the way you interpret pain, which can really help reduce the fear and actually lower the intensity of those pain signals. And so a quick example of how to reframe that pain or CBT technique, the goal is really to shift the way you think about pain.
Why you do this? I feel no pain. No. I feel no pain.
I feel no pain.
No. I feel no pain.
I have come up and told you this.
And try to reduce the emotional suffering that comes with it. So not only is it the physical pain, but it's the emotional frustration and the what-if thoughts that come with pain that make it equally as bad. So pain reframing means learning to say, instead of "this pain will never go away," is saying things like, "this pain is temporary. It's part of the healing process. I've had it before and I'll get through it this time." So just those small changes in the way you talk to yourself and reframe the negative, never-ending thoughts can really be helpful in reframing that pain. And shifting that focus doesn't make the pain disappear, unfortunately, but it does lower the panic, the stress response, and really helps your brain stay calm so that the body can do its job and heal that pain as well. So the fourth major principle of CBT is trying to bake in some relaxation and stress reduction techniques. So stress really has a way of turning up the pain dial, especially throughout injury recovery. And even simple things like breathing exercises can help you feel a little bit more in control and a little less reactive to those emotions and thoughts.
Everybody sit on the floor, Indian style like me. Oh my God, if you're wearing a dress, please keep your knees together. Nobody wants to see that.
And so the goal within this principle is really just to reduce that tension, turn down the pain volume or that pain alarm system going on in your body, and just try to reset with a breathing exercise or other forms of relaxation. So as an example scenario of something that might happen, so you're laying in bed at night, your back has been bugging you, it flares up again. You can feel your muscles tensing up, your heart rate obviously gets a little elevated, and you suddenly feel a lot more hyper in tune to that pain. It feels a lot more intense. This is an example of that kind of pain alarm. So you notice it, and you're also having that emotional response where you really want it to not be there. So those two combining is really an example of that pain alarm going off. And so as a quick example to something to try is just a double inhale, deep double inhale, and a long exhale.
The physiological sigh brings your level of stress down immediately, very quickly, and we all have the capacity to do it. And it's done the following way. It's a double inhale through the nose. The first one is a complete inhale till your lungs feel full, and then you sneak in a little bit more air as a second inhale, and then a long, slow exhale through the mouth until your lungs are completely empty. Yeah, we can all do it together.
We should do this. We should all do this together. All right, so will you tell us when to stop inhaling?
Yeah, I can't do it while speaking.
Okay.
So, and this is completely safe to do unless you're underwater.
So no one here is swimming? All right, good.
So
show of hands.
So you're going to do a big, deep inhale through your nose until your lungs are full. So let's do that. So big inhale. And now before you exhale, sneak in a little bit more air to maximally inflate your lungs. And now slowly exhale all your air through your mouth until your lungs are completely empty.
We all just de-stress.
And so something as simple as this breathing exercise can help reduce that clenched jaw, those tight shoulders, and really reduce that tension. But really what it's doing is calming your body's nervous system so that you're not in that pain alarm, and it can give the body a chance to just reset and relax out of that stage. And so the fifth major principle of CBT is graded exposure. So really avoiding movements because of fear can really keep you stuck in that fear loop. So CBT really helps you gently test the waters and rebuild small confidence throughout repeated exposures, one step at a time. And so the goal here is really to just rebuild trust in your body, rebuild trust in those movements that cause pain and fear, one step at a time. And so as an example with that, maybe you tore your ACL, and ever since then you've been really fearful of going downstairs or upstairs, whatever causes pain. So you try to avoid them completely and take elevators everywhere, even though your doctor says your knee is okay and you can give it a shot. Obviously, your brain is still in a little bit of that fear loop. So CBT helps reframe, saying don't force it, just start small. So maybe one step today, two tomorrow. That's graded exposure. It can feel painfully slow and tedious, but 2 steps turns into 4, so on and so forth. And really that graded exposure can really help you build up quicker than you think. And so number 6 of the 6 principles of CBT is really problem solving. So setbacks are a part of recovery, unfortunately. It's not a guarantee, but it's best to kind of expect some sort of setback throughout your recovery journey. And CBT helps teach you how to create an action plan instead of just spiraling out of control or panicking when they do unfortunately arise. So the goal is really to create a setback plan instead of panic.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
So as an example of something that might happen throughout an injury recovery is, say you're recovering from a shoulder injury and then boom, your shoulder starts hurting again, whether it's after surgery or something just kind of popped, doesn't feel right, and you immediately think, oh great, I'm back to square one. So problem solving really helps you kind of flip the script and take a step back without reacting emotionally. So you could say, what's changed? Did I do something different than before? Did I skip stretching, sleep funny? You can jot it down and start to see any patterns, and then certainly ask what is in my control and what's out of my control. Certainly asking your PT, setting up an appointment, those are all within your control to try and address what happened. But that worry, fear, and rumination is not helpful.
Please, God, don't let me embarrass myself in front of Denise.
So trying to work the problem instead of making it worse with emotions is really the goal of problem solving. Take one step at a time and try and address it without spiraling. And in summary here, the key takeaway is really that a setback is not failure by any means. It happens all the time throughout recovery, and it's just feedback. So you notice it, address it, and if it's out of your control, just let it go. All right, so now we'll talk about how to actually use CBT throughout your recovery journey. And so with that first principle to really catch and question negative or unhelpful thoughts, using a thought log can be extremely beneficial. It might sound a little tedious, but if you ever notice something, the thoughts like this pain will never go away, you can jot down and ask yourself questions like, is this 100% true? What evidence is there to support this or against it? Is this actually a logical thought? And what's more of a balanced thought if I had moving forward? So really just jotting down logical thoughts can help combat that one negative or unhelpful thought throughout your journey, and seeing it in a log or a journal can really be helpful. And looking at some tools within the second principle of CBT with behavioral activation is really setting micro goals and systems. So you can ask yourself something like, what's one small thing I can do to help me tomorrow? So setting small systems like laying clothes aside, making your lunch the night before, these little tiny systems can help you reach huge goals. You can also set aside little distractions or things to help you boost your mood, whether it's making a coffee, texting a friend, watching a show, or having something to look forward to throughout the day. Those are great micro goals and systems to help you get in a better place mentally. And so looking at number 3 with trying to reframe the pain is pretty similar to the first one with trying to identify and challenge those unhelpful thought patterns. But instead of saying things like, this pain is controlling me, you can say things like, the pain is here, but it's certainly not running the show. And this simple, small mindset shift can really help you feel a little bit more empowered throughout your journey and be especially helpful even when that discomfort is present. So those little mental shifts, those little thoughts that you tell yourself can have a really big impact. And so looking at number 4 with trying to bake in some relaxation and stress reduction methods throughout your injury recovery journey, a great one is to include music and various binaural beats and sounds throughout your recovery journey. These therapeutic sounds added to your routine can really be helpful. Of course, meditation and mindfulness are great relaxation techniques, but I'm sure you're tired of hearing about that these days. Additionally, breathing exercises can all be used in conjunction with these, or just simple things like relaxing, reading, finding a distraction that works for you. And so lastly, a few other tips in dealing with problem solving and putting problem solving of CBT in action with a game plan. So instead of spiraling mentally or emotionally, when you're in that fear or pain loop, you can just ask yourself, whether it's a thought log or just journal or just to yourself, is what's going on and what are 3 possible responses? What's one thing I can try today? And write down your daily wins, no matter how small, as we mentioned with that graded exposure. Something as simple as even just walking to the mailbox. This really trains your brain to look for progress, look for those positives. And in reality, the whole goal here is really to stay consistent and not seek perfection. So as long as you keep moving, that's ideal. And so with anything else, obviously CBT is a practice, not a one-time fix. So there are journals out there, apps, even professional therapists if you need them to stay supported and connected. But every little effort and every little attempt to try it and reframe those thoughts is a massive step forward in helping you become more resilient and just making your injury recovery a little bit more manageable. All right, so in closing, your thoughts really don't have to make recovery harder, even though in reality it seems like our brains are wired to push us with those unhelpful, negative, or ruminating thoughts. But with CBT, you can really reduce that fear, build confidence, and push forward even through the pain. So healing isn't just physical, it's obviously a massive mental game as well. If you've had any CBT or if you've practiced it throughout your journey or anything that's helped you, throw those in the comments. And if this video resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.